Welcome to our channel, where we embark on a journey of knowledge and self-improvement through the exploration of enlightening books. Today, we will explore the first and greatest book of all time that leads you to success. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. The book emphasizes the importance of honesty, kindness, and the ability to understand others, offering a fresh perspective on the art of communication and leadership. How to Win Friends and Influence People is not just a book, it is a philosophy of life. It continues to inspire and guide millions of people worldwide, from business professionals to individuals seeking personal growth and the creation of a united and cohesive community. To ensure that this book brings about the best results. 1. Cultivate a deep and strong desire to master the wondrous principles of human interaction. 2. Take regular pauses to contemplate and inquire how to apply each principle to your daily life. 3. Record every valuable and significant idea. 4. Revisit this book in your spare time every month. 5. Seize every opportunity to apply these principles. Use the book as a manual to tackle everyday challenges. 6. Make it an engaging practice by rewarding someone whenever they catch you violating one of the principles. 7. Evaluate your progress weekly. Reflect on your mistakes, achievements, and lessons learned for the future. 8. Document the time and specific methods you use to apply these principles in a small notebook. Chapter 1. If you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive. Once, in a conversation with friends, I recalled some impactful stories about personal change and the power of forgiveness. Imagine having a friend whom you wish to see change, improve, and progress. Sometimes, I wonder, are we overlooking the most important thing, self-change? There's a saying by Confucius that always resonates with me. Do not complain about the snow on your neighbor's roof when your own doorstep is unclean. The underlying message emphasizes the need to start with ourselves before looking up to others. This advice is illustrated vividly through the story of Bob Hoover, a famous pilot. During a test flight, his plane encountered trouble, and only through his experience and skill did he manage to save himself and others. Instead of blaming the young mechanic who caused the incident, he showed compassion and encouraged him to continue growing. Then there's the story of Father Forgets, which truly exemplifies the power of forgiveness. This article had a profound impact on readers, emphasizing that even small mistakes can have significant consequences. Sometimes, an apology and forgiveness are far more important than criticism and blame. So, before we close our eyes to the faults of others, remember that change starts from within ourselves. Sometimes, renewing ourselves can lead to better results than we ever imagined. As Dr. Johnson once said, even God does not judge a person until the final moment of their life. So why do you and I do it? The people we meet along the journey of life will influence our lives. Whether good or bad, they provide us with invaluable life experiences. Therefore, we should not condemn, criticize, or complain about anyone. In fact, if someone hurts you, betrays you, or takes advantage of your kindness, then please forgive them. Because perhaps, it is through them that you learn the virtue of forgiveness. Criticizing someone is easy. Rising above that judgment to behave generously, to forgive, is what truly deserves pride. Principle 1. No condemnation, criticism, or complaint. Chapter 2. The biggest secret in the law of behavior. There's an effective way to get others to do what you want, and it's not through coercion, but by igniting their voluntary desire. This requires understanding what others desire and providing them with opportunities to express themselves. Freud and Dewey emphasized the importance of the desire for self-expression and the need to understand this in communication and interaction with others. Most people want to be valued and respected, and satisfying this need is often the deciding factor between success and failure in communication. Examples such as raising piglets or participating in social activities to be recognized and respected demonstrate people's desire to express themselves and be valued. However, if this need is not controlled, there is a risk that things will become worse, such as using negative means to attract attention or seek worship. So, instead of coercive actions, we should seek to understand and stimulate the voluntary desires of others. This will create a positive environment and encourage people to express themselves in a more positive and healthy way. In the realm of leadership, Charles Schwab stands out as one of the earliest Americans to earn $1 million annually, appointed by Andrew Carnegie as the first president of U.S. Steel Corporation in 1921. Surprisingly, Schwab's remarkable salary wasn't due to exceptional talent or superior steel knowledge. Instead, it was his unparalleled ability to inspire and motivate others that earned him such recognition. Schwab himself confessed that many working under him possessed superior knowledge of steel processing. His secret lay in his capacity to uplift those around him, leveraging their strengths by acknowledging, praising, and encouraging them. His philosophy centered on fostering enthusiasm and refraining from criticism or condemnation, recognizing that positive reinforcement far outweighs the negative. This approach contrasts sharply with the norm of reprimanding or withholding praise, exemplified by the proverbial criticize twice for every commendation attitude. Schwab's belief in nurturing intrinsic motivation and appreciation yielded remarkable results, as evidenced by his own success and the loyalty of those who worked alongside him. Andrew Carnegie, too, recognized the power of genuine appreciation. His habit of publicly and privately praising his collaborators underscored his understanding of human nature. Even in death, his tombstone honored those who contributed to his achievements, emphasizing the importance of acknowledging others' efforts. Similarly, John D. Rockefeller's response to a significant financial loss exemplified the impact of genuine appreciation. Rather than chastising Edward Bedford for $1 million misstep, Rockefeller commended him for salvaging 60% of the investment, recognizing his effort and resilience. These anecdotes highlight the transformative potential of sincere appreciation. Whether it's a teacher's encouragement propelling a student to greatness or a spouse's acknowledgement inspiring personal growth, genuine appreciation fosters motivation and strengthens relationships. However, insincere flattery, akin to counterfeit currency, fails to resonate and often backfires. Distinguishing between genuine appreciation and mere lip service is crucial, as the former stems from the heart, while the latter serves selfish motives. Ultimately, fostering a culture of appreciation requires a shift in perspective from self-centeredness to recognizing the inherent value and contributions of others. By embracing this mindset, individuals can cultivate a culture of gratitude and encouragement, enriching both personal and professional lives. Knowing how to sincerely praise and thank those around us is like a magical wand that creates bonds of affection and a great source of spiritual encouragement. It brings joy in knowing that each person is cared for, acknowledged, and loved. Genuine praise motivates individuals to naturally amend their flaws, striving for improvement. Principle 2: Genuine praise and appreciation for others. Chapter 3: Whoever achieves this will have the whole world. When I go fishing in the summer, I often don't think about ice cream or fruit but rather about the favorite food of the fish, worms. Instead of baiting the hook with ice cream or fruit, I hang a worm or grasshopper on the hook and say, "Hey, fish, do you like this?" Similarly, this is how Lloyd George, the great Prime Minister of Britain during World War I, maintained his power. He understood that to succeed, He needed to understand and cater to the desires of others. That's why he knew how to bait the hook appropriately for each type of fish. The same applies to communicating with people. If you want to persuade someone, talk about what they care about and guide them on how to achieve it. Like wanting your son not to smoke, you can talk about the negative consequences of smoking on health or relationships. The key is to understand and address their desires. Even animals want to be treated with respect and understanding. An example is when Ralph Waldo Emerson and his son tried to bring a calf into the barn unsuccessfully until a maid understood the animal's psychology and handled the situation with compassion. So, the secret to influencing is to understand and cater to the desires of others, as well as to speak to them in a way they want to hear. Hundreds of thousands of salespeople are walking along the streets today, tired and disappointed with their low salaries. Why? Because they always think about what they want without realizing what the customers want. We always care only about solving our own problems. And if salespeople could just show us how their service or product would help solve our problems, they wouldn't need to sell to us. We would buy it ourselves. Customers want to feel like they are buying, not being sold to. Yet many salespeople waste their lives selling their products without understanding the desires of the buyers. I've spent many years living in Forest Hills, a small community of families living somewhat isolated in the heart of New York City. One day, while walking to work, I happened to meet a real estate businessman with experience in this area. He was very knowledgeable about Forest Hills, so I casually asked him whether my stucco house was made with metal lath or hollow tile. He said he didn't know and advised me to ask about it at the Forest Hills Architectural Society. The next day, I received a letter from him. Did he provide me with the information I wanted? No, he asked for my permission to consult me on insurance. Clearly, he wasn't interested in helping me. He only cared about helping himself. The world is full of people who want to profit and gain for themselves, so individuals who genuinely want to serve others will have a significant advantage. They will face very little competition. Owen D. Young, a famous lawyer and one of America's greatest business leaders, once said, "Those who can put themselves in the place of others, who can understand the thoughts and feelings of others, need never worry about the future." If after reading this book, you can only practice one thing, which is always thinking from the perspective of others and seeing things from their point of view, just this one thing alone will mark a tremendously important milestone on your career path. Understanding issues from others' perspectives and stimulating their fervent desires to achieve what they desire is not about taking advantage of people to pursue your own interests and harm theirs. Both sides must benefit equally. It's easy to receive but hard to give. It's easy to think poorly of others but hard to give them trust. It's easy to extinguish others' dreams but hard to ignite a fervent desire within them. So why not do something difficult that's incredibly effective, like inspiring a passionate desire in someone? Chapter 3. Encourage others to fulfill your desired actions. Chapter 4. Genuinely caring for others. The company Telephone New York found that the word "I" was used 3,900 times in 500 phone calls, indicating its high frequency. When viewing a group photo, most people seek themselves first. However, true connection requires caring for others beyond oneself. Alfred Adler, the Austrian psychologist, emphasized the importance of caring for others, stating that neglecting others leads to personal and societal failures. This principle extends to various aspects of life, including writing and leadership. Howard Thurston, a renowned magician, attributed his success not to education but to understanding human nature and genuinely caring for his audience. Similarly, President Theodore Roosevelt's humility and genuine concern for others earned him respect and affection even from his servants. By genuinely appreciating and admiring others, one can garner their attention and cooperation. This approach proved successful in inviting prominent figures to share their experiences with eager learners. Ultimately, true connection and influence stem from caring for others rather than solely focusing on oneself. Workers in a factory, employees in an office, or a king on the throne all appreciate those who admire them. The German emperor is a typical example. At the end of World War I, he was perhaps the most despised person in the world. Even his own people turned against him. He had to seek political asylum in the Netherlands. Millions wanted to tear the king apart because of the resentment boiling within them. At that moment, a boy wrote a simple, sincere, and loving letter to the king, full of admiration. The boy wrote that no matter what anyone said, he always cherished Wilhelm and saw him as his emperor. The king was deeply moved upon reading the letter and immediately invited the boy to meet him. The boy didn't come alone but with his mother. Later, the emperor married the charming mother of the boy. The story is true but resembles a fairy tale. There's a fundamental principle. If we want real friends, then we should think and do something for them. Give them time, effort, and genuine care without expecting anything in return. Expressing sincere care for others can create deep connections and long-term support. Martin Ginsberg, a student from Long Island, New York, shared how a nurse changed his life on a special Thanksgiving Day. Despite facing difficulties and feeling lonely in the hospital, the nurse's care and empathy brought warmth and encouragement to him. Genuine care not only fosters good connections with others but also makes you valuable and trustworthy in their eyes. Always remember that you have two arms, one to help yourself and one to help others. A person can succeed at almost anything for which they have unlimited enthusiasm. Charles Schwab. Principle 4. Sincerely caring for others. Chapter 5. A simple way to make a great impression. Actions speak louder than words. A smile can convey genuine affection and joy better than any speech. Charles Schwab's smile alone was valued at millions, showcasing the power of charm and charisma in how to win friends and influence people. A child's smile, Maurice Chevalier's transformation, and even a simple gesture at a veterinary office illustrate its impact. A sincere smile warms hearts, fostering connections and dissipating tension. It's not about forced pretense but genuine care, as recognized by psychology professor James V. McConnell. Businesses like New York's phone companies understand the value of smiles, training employees in the power of a smile to enhance customer interactions. Robert Cryer's hiring success and William B. Stenhardt's marital transformation testify to its effectiveness. Smiling changes attitudes and outcomes, fostering success, happiness, and deeper relationships. Despite inner struggles, forcing a smile can gradually uplift spirits, as actions influence emotions. So, embrace the power of a smile. It's a simple yet potent tool for personal and professional growth, enriching lives, and fostering positivity in every interaction. Happiness isn't determined by material wealth or social status, but primarily by one's attitude and mindset. Two people with similar circumstances, jobs, and income can feel differently about their happiness due to their differing perspectives and approaches to life. I've seen many instances of impoverished farmers joyfully toiling under the scorching sun, while some individuals in luxurious office settings feel disappointed and discontent. A smile is one of the most powerful tools for expressing optimism and happiness. It can turn a bad situation into a good one and alleviate pain and anxiety. A genuine smile not only creates joy for oneself but also spreads happiness to those around them. The key isn't the external situation, but rather how we approach it. By nurturing a positive attitude and optimistic outlook, we can make every situation brighter and happier. Don't forget to smile in life. Your smile brings happiness to those around you and therefore brings happiness to yourself as well. Smile at each other, even if they are strangers. That smile will shine into the darkest corners of the soul and brighten even the darkest places. Principle 5. Let your smile light up the world. Chapter 6. To keep everything smooth sailing. Reflecting on the year 1898, tragedy struck in Rockland, New York. On a frigid, slippery morning, Jim Farley, preparing to attend a child's funeral, was fatally kicked by his horse, leaving behind his wife, 3 sons, and a modest life insurance sum. His eldest son, Jim, aged 10, had to forego schooling to toil at a brickyard, undertaking tasks from wheelbarrow pushing to brick molding and stacking. Despite lacking formal education, Jim's innate cheerfulness endeared him to others. As the years passed, the young boy matured into a seasoned man, venturing into politics and swiftly rising to prominence. Despite lacking a college degree, by age 46, he received numerous honorary degrees and ascended to chairmanship of the Democratic National Committee and Postmaster General of the United States. Asked about his success, Jim Farley attributed it to hard work, yet revealed his remarkable ability to remember people's names, a skill pivotal in his political career, notably aiding Franklin D. Roosevelt's presidential victory in 1932. Throughout his life, Farley developed a method for remembering names, gathering details about individuals' full names, families, occupations, and political views, and storing this information in his mind like puzzle pieces. This knack for recall allowed him to warmly engage with constituents, leaving a lasting impression. Farley's story underscores the power of remembering and correctly pronouncing people's names, showcasing a simple yet effective means to establish rapport and make a positive impact. Andrew Carnegie, the renowned steel tycoon of America, attributed his success not to his expertise in steel, but to his ability to treat people well. Despite thousands working for him who knew more about steel, his knack for interpersonal relations made him wealthy. Even as a child in Scotland, he grasped the remarkable significance of addressing people by their names. He utilized this insight to garner genuine cooperation throughout his life. Carnegie's early experience with rabbits taught him the power of personalized engagement. He incentivized local children to gather food for the rabbits, promising to name each one after them. This successful initiative left an indelible mark on Carnegie. Years later, Carnegie amassed millions by leveraging this psychological approach in business. For instance, to supply steel rails to the Pennsylvania Railroad, he built the Edgar Thomson Steel Works in Pittsburgh. Predictably, the railroad purchased steel from him. Carnegie's leadership secrets, rooted in remembering and valuing people's names, resonated beyond business. His legacy endures, as leaders like Franklin D. Roosevelt and others have recognized the importance of this simple yet profound practice in forging meaningful connections. The anecdotes of Carnegie's and Roosevelt's interactions underscore how remembering names fosters genuine connections and underscores the importance of every individual. In essence, each name represents a unique source of joy and significance in human interaction, be it a waiter or a CEO. Good virtues are cultivated and honed through much effort and determination. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Principle 6. Always remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest sound in any language. Chapter 7. To become a skilled communicator. I met a renowned botanist at a dinner hosted by a New York publisher. It was my first encounter with a botanist, so I was captivated by his fascinating stories about exotic herbs and his experiences in cultivating ornamental plants. He was also eager to advise me on solving some issues in my small garden. In fact, I violated all rules of etiquette, forgetting the presence of dozens of other guests, including the host, to engage in conversation with this botanist for hours. Late into the evening, as I bid everyone farewell, the botanist praised me as the most interesting person and concluded that I was an excellent conversationalist. Despite speaking only a few short sentences, being praised as a good conversationalist was because I knew how to listen. Since I knew nothing about botany, I simply sat and listened attentively, focusing on what he shared. My attentiveness made him feel valued, and that made him find our interaction intriguing. Listening is one of the most important ways to show respect for others. By listening, we can understand others better and encourage them to share more. This is also how Eliot, the former president of Harvard University, and many others have demonstrated respect and concern for others through the art of listening. People have a tendency to attack others. However, even the most aggressive individuals will soften their tone in front of someone who listens patiently and sincerely. Once, a New York telephone company faced an irate customer who accused them of fraud and threatened not to pay a substantial phone bill. Despite numerous complaints to the Public Service Commission and lawsuits against the company, the situation persisted. To resolve the issue, they sent their most eloquent spokesperson, dubbed the troubleshooter. The troubleshooter sat down with the customer and listened attentively as he vented his frustrations for nearly 3 hours. After several visits, during the fourth encounter, the customer, feeling heard and understood, voluntarily settled the bill and withdrew all complaints. He even initiated a consumer protection organization, of which the troubleshooter became the sole member aside from the founder. This customer initially sought validation through confrontation but ultimately desired to feel important. Through patient listening and empathy, the troubleshooter achieved resolution without conflict. Similarly, Julian F. Detmer, founder of Len Detmer Company, faced an angry customer who refused to pay a small sum. Despite the customer's initial hostility, Detmer patiently listened. Acknowledging the customer's concerns and expressing gratitude for bringing the issue to his attention, Detmer assured him they would review and waive the charge. He even recommended other reputable suppliers and invited the customer to lunch. Grateful for Detmer's understanding, the customer not only placed a larger order but also sent a check to cover the disputed amount. Listening attentively and empathetically, even in difficult situations, fosters understanding and resolution, as demonstrated by these examples. Silence is more melodious than any music. Christina Rossetti. The quieter you become, the more you can hear. Baba Ram Das. Principle 7. Knowing how to listen and encourage others to speak about their issues. Chapter 8. Attracting the attention of others. Anyone who encountered President Theodore Roosevelt was astonished by his extensive knowledge on various subjects. Whether it was a Texas cowboy, a New York politician, a horse trainer, or a diplomat, Roosevelt knew how to make conversations extremely engaging. His secret: before meeting anyone, he would stay up late the night before, researching the topics he knew the guest would be particularly interested in. Roosevelt, like all great leaders worldwide, understood that the quickest way to someone's heart is by discussing what they care about most. William Leon Phelps, a literature professor at Yale University, shared an anecdote about a lawyer from New York who engaged Phelps in an enthusiastic conversation about boats, even though he had no interest in them himself. This demonstrated the lawyer's politeness and his effort to ensure Phelps enjoyed the conversation. Similarly, Mr. Duvernoy's experience of trying to sell bread to a New York hotel illustrates the effectiveness of understanding and discussing someone's passions. Despite years of unsuccessful attempts, Duvernoy changed his strategy after realizing the hotel owner's passion for the Hotel Greeters of America Association. By engaging the owner in a conversation about the association, Duvernoy gained his trust and eventually secured a deal, proving that discussing a person's interests can be more effective than direct sales pitches. A careless word, lacking thought, can dispel goodwill, causing discord. A cruel word can hurt a soul. A timely word can bring peace. A loving word can bring true happiness. And there are words that can save a person. Principle 8. Talking about what others care about. Chapter 9. To instantly make others like you. Once, I stood in line at the post office and saw a customer service representative behind the counter looking very weary. I thought about his mundane job, weighing envelopes, sticking stamps, counting loose change, and handing out receipts to customers, a repetitive sequence of tasks. I decided to make him feel happier. When it was my turn to mail a letter, I said, "I wish I had hair as nice as yours." He looked up with surprise and smiled broadly. "Thank you. Today it's not been great as usual." I thought his hair was really nice and it gave off a particularly masculine charm. We continued to chat, and he revealed that many people had complimented his hair. This made me happy to have pleased someone without expecting anything in return. The rule "always make others feel they are important" is crucial in communication and brings happiness to both sides. David G. Smith from Eau Claire, Wisconsin, shared with our class his experience managing an awkward situation at a charity concert. Upon arrival, Smith noticed two elderly women looking discontented beside the refreshment stand. Before he could act, a committee member handed him a cash box, thanking him for volunteering. The committee member introduced Smith to Rose and Jane, who would assist him, and then departed, leaving an uneasy silence. Recognizing the symbolic power of holding money, Smith passed the box to Rose, suggesting she manage it. He then delegated responsibility to Jane for instructing the servers, allowing her to take charge. As a result, Rose happily managed the money, Jane confidently oversaw the servers, and Smith enjoyed the concert without worry. This approach isn't reserved for high-ranking positions. It can be applied daily. Politeness and appreciation, as exemplified by Hall Caine's story, hold extraordinary power. Caine's sincere admiration for Dante Gabriel Rossetti led to an opportunity that transformed his life. Similarly, Ronald J. Rowland's recognition of a shy student's potential boosted his confidence and taught Rowland a valuable lesson in the importance of making others feel valued. George Eastman's friendship with James Adamson illustrates how acknowledging someone's significance can lead to profound connections and lasting impact. Thus, by recognizing and affirming others' importance, we can cultivate meaningful relationships and achieve success in various aspects of life. The most valuable person is the one who helps others the most. Making others feel important is one of the most useful ways to help them live and work better. The desire to be important is the most powerful impetus in human nature. John Dewey. Principle 9. Genuinely making others feel important. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Don't forget to hit like and share if you found it helpful. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button to stay updated on the latest content from our channel. Also, if you found any of the information in this video useful, follow what you've learned and apply it to your daily life. Remember to turn on notifications so you don't miss any upcoming videos from us. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you in the next videos.